Hi traders, today I've got a really insightful interview for you today. We talk to No Nonsense Forex, or VP, as some of you may know him as. He has been a professional trader since 2014, has been trading with a prop firm, and gives us some really good insights into the psychology around trading and how to level up your mindset if you're going to be successful in this. So stay tuned, enjoy this video, and I'll catch you at the end. What would you say? So, if you say your podcast is based a lot on the sort of emotions and psychology of trading, what's what's the most listened to podcast you have? Is it about losing? Is it about winning? Is it about overconfidence, maybe, or lack of confidence?
That's a good question. I should look. I think, well, one of the videos I did early on was about how to handle losing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you know how most of Forex trading goes down, it's a pretty safe bet that that's going to get more views than the video about how to handle winning.
Yeah.
Because that's the one people need to constantly go back to.
Yeah.
So I don't know the numbers, but if I had to place a wager, I would say it's probably the losing video.
Yeah, I remember when somebody asked me the question a few years ago, and I was like, the handling losses is the easy part because I've done that so often when I first started. It's almost like the one that you get used to first. I find my psychology was when I was performing really well. My psychology was almost like I'm performing well. I had this sort of risk element with me where I wanted to risk a little more when I was doing really well. And that could sometimes obviously have a negative effect. Obviously, if then, a trade doesn't, perform very well, then you kind of, giving back some of your gains and whatnot. And then that can obviously lead to sort of revenge trading and things like that. So would you say that's just as important as losing?
Oh yeah, it completely derails you. It derails everybody because in your mind, somehow in the last 2 weeks, you've gone from an average trader to a very good trader, which is absurd. But now you feel like you're leaving money on the table. I'm doing so well. Why am I still risking, what I'm risking? I need to really up this. And then, Murphy's Law, that's always the point in time where you hit a losing streak. And then not only do you erase all the gains you made, you actually put yourself in a further hole. So it's, you have to understand the probabilities of this. And if you do, and you can stay consistent with it, then you can have a good time and a promising career. But you have to follow the rules, and that's the hard part. So so you're right. Yeah, the psychology around hitting a hot streak is equal to hitting a losing streak, I would say, because they're equally as dangerous. And losing has a lot of different connotations. Have you taken a 3-trade losing streak, or are you down 30% for the year? That's both losing, and that both hits you in different ways. And you need to know how to, one, identify it, 2, cope with it, and 3, come back from it. And these are things just nobody ever considers because we're so lost in the sauce when it comes to the actual technical analysis and the highs and lows and stuff like that come with it. We don't even think about it. And so that's the first thing. I was like, guys, we have to identify this first. It's very humbling, as men who are chasing success and status, we don't want to even address it. But I guess it's like that 12-step program. The first step is admitting it. So that's the big hurdle. That's the big hurdle entry for most people. And that's still why my technical analysis videos dwarf my psychology videos in terms of viewership.
Yeah. Would you say there is a technical way to get over those emotions? Is there like, I don't know, I'm kind of just thinking off the top of my head here, thinking, let's say my emotions don't let me hold on to a profitable trade long enough. Is there a technical way that would help me do that? Like an indicator, for instance?
I wouldn't say an indicator. I would say a time frame. And this is one of the biggest helpful pieces of advice I've put out on my channel. One of the things I've gotten the best feedback on, because I think a lot of people were very resistant to this when I first said it. But the daily chart is The daily time frame is so elite.
Hmm.
If you're trading intraday, if you're scalping, I highly suggest you migrate over to the daily chart for a lot of reasons. One, anything you do from a technical analysis perspective is going to be more accurate on higher time frames anyway. And the great thing is you can place a trade. You really just have to check into your charts for 10, 15 minutes a day. That's what I do. I do it right before the indicator is about to close, because price isn't moving so much. If I'm getting a signal, chances are it's not going to change in the last 15 minutes of the trading day. So I check in then, and I trade 36 different pairs, and I'm able to check all 36, see if I need to enter, if I need to do nothing, if I need to maintain a trade, and I just go right through it, and then I'm done. And I don't look at a chart for another 24 hours.
Right.
And
so
that's
you manage that on a 24-hour rolling basis then?
Yeah, I put my levels in. If it hits those levels, then great. If not, then I'll have something to do tomorrow. But what I don't do is have charting apps on my phone. I don't check in. I just let it be, because that's what you're supposed to do. When you were back testing your system, you weren't there to get in the way. So whatever success it's giving you, that's what it's supposed to give you, and you need to let that happen. So it's hard to do, especially at first, but there's just no other way. I couldn't imagine trading the 5 or 15-minute chart, but that's what most people do. And that's why people are so resistant, because if you think about when you learned Forex, almost every technical analysis example that you were shown, one, worked like a charm, which is nonsense because they don't always do that. And then two, we're usually on a lower time frame. So in your mind, you just had that image burned into your head, like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to trade. I'm supposed to use the 15-minute chart, maybe the 1-hour chart at the most. And then, here comes this guy coming in saying you need to use the daily chart, and it just seems ridiculous at the time. But once you start doing it, and once you get your life back, and once your results start coming as a result, then it all starts to click. But again, it's just one of those bridges you have to cross first.
Would you say using the higher time frame stops the sort of fluctuations in sort of P&L losses and things like that?
Absolutely, because if you can do that, you can ignore almost every bit of fundamental analysis out there that comes in and ruins your trade. I mean, think about how great that would be, because you've seen it. Even if we get really good news on the Aussie, for example, sometimes it'll take it down. Because it's not binary. It's not A equals B when it comes to fundamental analysis. And the big banks, the people who ultimately control price, can take price wherever they want and trigger your stops and set your orders that you didn't really want to be set. And that's a miserable way to trade. I like trading with a higher measure of control than that. I mean, it is my money after all. I would like to have some control over it and not just hand it over to these manipulators. And it's just, I just can't see a world where I would ever go back to something like that. Is it more exciting? Sure. But, life can be really exciting too. And you don't have to have intraday trading to fill that void. You can have your cake and eat it too here. And that's what I preach.
That's fair enough. I mean, when in your journey did you say, I'm going to go to the daily chart?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, like I said, man, I don't have those eureka turning points. I circle the date.
I wondered if it was kind of like after like a little bit of a losing streak, maybe on a lower time frame or something, where you just said, look, I'm not doing that now.
Oh, I can speak to that. Yeah. So I was this was mostly when I was following ICT, and he was big into the London Open. The problem is, on the west coast of the United States, the London Open starts at midnight. So which is fine. I was waiting tables. I would come home, with all the stress and exhaustion from that, and then begin my trading day at midnight. Take it till 6. Now, a lot of the very big USD news comes out at 5:30 Pacific time, but you got to sleep at some point. So I would go to sleep at 6:30, still wondering how this news was affecting my trade. So I would just have all this stress and all these emotions swirling around. Wake up at like 2 in the afternoon, get ready to start my day, and go to work at 4:30. And I'm like, this is just not the life I ever imagined. I was still dedicated to the cause. Like I said, I'd already burned the boats years ago. I said, I'm going to make this happen. So I tried, but I just realized, I was like, there's no way I can make it happen if my body and my emotions are going through this much stress. So I don't know if it was right then, but it was close to that. I was like, look, man, because everything keys off of London time, as you know, it's not like the stock market that keys off in New York time. So I'm at a disadvantage. I either have to move or I have to do things differently. And I would bet that's probably right around when I said, okay, let's just do the daily chart and try it that way.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see some more of our Forex trading content. And I'll speak to you in the next video.